All right, guys, welcome back from spring break. We hope everybody's vacation was good and you're all rested up. Let's go ahead and look at tonight's first problem. So we're reviewing triangles that we talked about right before we went on spring break. So the first one says write and solve an equation to determine the value of x. So x is my variable, it's my unknown. Then there's another part, identify the triangle by its sides and angles, because remember there's two ways to identify a triangle, by its side measurements and its angle measurements. So let's look at the first part, our equation. Now remember we talked about the sum of the angles in a triangle. They all add up to be 180 degrees. So we're going to add our angles. X is one angle, plus x is our other angle, plus 2x. So I have 1, 2, 3 numbers there, or my variables, since we don't know what those are worth. Oops, sorry about that. And that all equals the sum of 180 degrees. So x plus 2x equals 180. That's my equation. Now we can go ahead with my equation and combine like terms. So if I have 1x, another x, and 2 x's, that means I have 1, 2, 3, 4 x's. So combining like terms, 4x equals 180. Now if you needed to see a picture of that, if you draw 1x, you have another x, and 2 x's, again, that's how you can see that there's 4 x's. So 4x equals 180. Now, if I want to find the value of x, this is where I'm going to use my do and undo. So I look at the equation. What am I doing on the side with 4 and x? When a number is right next to a letter, that means I'm multiplying by 4. That's the only thing I'm doing. So I'm going to go backwards and undo that. So the inverse operation of multiplication is division. So instead of multiplying by 4, I'm going to divide by 4. Now again, remember the reason I'm doing that is to isolate that variable and get x by itself. So divide by 4, what I do to one side of the equation, I have to keep it balanced, I do to the other. A fraction just means to divide, so 4 divided by 4 cancel out, gets me x by itself. And I'm just going to do the math over here. 180, cowboy and horse, numerator on the inside, denominator on the outside. So 4 cannot go into 1. 4 goes into 18 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16. I subtract and get 2. If I bring down the 0, then 4 goes into 20 exactly 5 times. So I kind of ran out of room, so I'll move that over here. 5 times 4 is 20. I get a remainder of 0. So 45 times 4 gives you the product of 180. So that means that x equals 45. Okay. Now, before we can determine the angle name, we have to use a little bit of our math reasoning skills a little bit more. If x is 45 degrees, then that means wherever we see x, we're going to put 45. So this angle is 45 degrees. This angle is also 1x, which is another 45 degrees. Then 2x, that means I have 2 times 45. So 45 times 2, you need to see it mathematically. 5 times 2 is 10. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So that means this angle right here is actually 90 degrees. So now that I have that, this is 90 degrees, this is 45, and this is 45. Using my triangle notes, I know that as soon as I see a 90-degree angle, that is a right angle. So as soon as you have a right angle, that makes the entire triangle a right triangle. Now, side name, I do not know any of my side measurements. If this is 3 centimeters, if it's 8 centimeters, if this is 10 centimeters, we don't know that. However, very important note that we noted last week, two congruent angles also means that their opposite sides are going to be congruent. And what do we call a triangle with two congruent sides? That's isosceles. So I-S-O-C-E-L-E-S. I believe I spelled that right. Double check my spelling, but I'm pretty sure we did. Okay, so look and see how we did on question 1 to try number 2. Now your equation may be different, of course, but remember to do your do and undo and come and see us in tutoring if you need help. Good luck.